For me, in a romantic setting, I prefer being in a relationship with someone who was born a woman. Yes. Couple. Chai. All right, couple cup, thank you. Just ordered some ice cream. It's Thailand. I'm gonna have ice cream for lunch. So you're dead set on moving abroad and being an expat. It's pretty exciting and also could be overwhelming. Trust me, I know how it is. In this video, I'd like to talk about the transitional stage of being an expat. I'm not going to go into like visas or checking accounts or storing your stuff and all that. It's going to be more about when you land on what to do in country. I've been an expat twice in my life. Once in 2007 for 3.5 years, and 10 months ago, up to now, I've been an expat, and both times that's been Thailand. I lived in rural China for 4 months, but I don't really consider that. I was more of a backpacker teacher during that time. Oh, waitress is coming. Oh, what? Kapuma cup. This is not ice cream. Let me get my phone out. Yeah, I know what ice cream is. That is not ice cream. Even a seasoned old expat like myself, we have our issues. World opener. So I'll cover in this video 3 things that I think are important for when you first come to a new country. I'm going to use Thailand, Chiang Mai, Thailand as my reference. The first is finding a strategic first place to live. Second, being flexible. Remember, this is Thailand. And third, hot one, getting a new mate. Or in my case, getting a girlfriend. I find these tips helpful for being a newbie abroad. I sure wish I had some of them. You know what? For not being ice cream, it wasn't too bad. Let's head out and chat. All right, for new expats, I'll say one of the first things you should concentrate on is finding a good first place to live. The 2 times I've immigrated to Chiang Mai, I always pick the same place to stay at first. My poison of choice is this place called Hoi Kao Residence. Anyone who's been here for a long time or a short time probably know Hoi Kao Residence. First off, you don't have to sign like a long-term contract. You can stay for a couple days or you can stay for a couple years. Let's see, the first time I was here, I stayed, I think 3 months. In this recent time that I've immigrated to Chiang Mai, I stayed there for 1 month. The reason I think it's a good place to stay when you first land in Chiang Mai, like I said, you don't have to sign a long-term lease. It's not too far from the old city. There's like a shopping center nearby. The reason I think this is so important is because, you know, the convenience of it, but, you know, I feel I need to say something about it because I've met many people throughout the years. They first land in Chiang Mai and they, you know, they find like a place online or something and they, you know, sign a lease. They go out there and they don't know anybody. They can't speak any Thai. They don't have a car or a motorbike. And way outside the city, there's not a lot of options to get in the city unless you use like Grab, which is like Uber or taxi type service, you know, which is nice, but you know, it adds up after a while. It's nice just stepping out your door, hopping in like this red taxi thing or taking tuk-tuks. I'm not really big on the tuk-tuks, but the red buses here, they're 30 baht. Sometimes they'll charge you 20 baht. If you speak some Thai, they'll charge you 20 baht as a foreigner. So I think it's a good idea to find something online. Just don't pay online, don't sign any long-term leases. And like I said, make sure it's a place that you can stay at just for a couple days because, you know, sometimes pictures, they could be old pictures or they could be strategic. So you might see a place online, oh, that looks really nice, and you get there and it's like, ah. And also you can like look at maps, see, okay, what are you interested in? Are you interested in seeing temples? Are you interested in the party scene? Are you interested in going to downtown? Interested to go to outside the city? So you can look at on Google Maps, put in the address, check on Google Maps, like, okay, it's not that far from the things I want to be doing on a daily or weekly basis. Don't worry, if you're planning on staying here a long time, you have plenty of time to stay out in the sticks. But just for a newbie, I say stay in town or at least near the downtown area. Hi. The second thing I'd like to cover was actually a suggestion by my long-term expat friend, Carl. He said that you gotta be flexible. You're in Thailand. So number 2 is being flexible. To lessen the culture shock and Actually, keep your sanity and put probably 5 years on your life. Realize you're in a totally different environment, different culture, and don't say things constantly. Well, in my country, we do it like this, we do it like that. This is Thailand. Those rules no longer apply. It's important to keep your cultural identity. Of course it is. Just because you moved to another country doesn't mean you become a person of that country, especially when you come here, you know, in your 30s or 40s or even in your 20s. But you have to learn to be flexible. Making a lunch date at 4:30 might end up being 4:45 or even 5 o'clock. Or if you go out to eat or go to a shop or something and the salesperson is moving at a snail's pace, I know how that is. I get pretty short-tempered, pretty impatient when I'm hungry. I go to a restaurant and I put my order in, and the waitress is, you know, playing with their phone or talking to the cook or just talking to other customers for like no professional reason. I kind of like, all right, just breathe. You're in Thailand right now. Also, it's important to know that Thais express themselves differently than Westerners do, especially in kind of like, you know, high tension or serious matters. I remember one time this is, God, just a million years ago, I used to frequent this coffee shop, and the girl, the owner, she was asking me about me and my life, what I was doing there, my family and all that. So I asked her the same thing about her family and her life. And she told me about that, and I was like, oh, what about your parents? She's like, oh, my mother, she's retired. And I was like, oh, what about your dad? And she started laughing. She's like, oh, he died of cancer 5 years ago. And I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry. And she's like, no, that's okay. She had like a smile on her face. She's like, hey, that's part of life. It's normal, no problem. And I was kind of taken back by this. I partially think that is this kind of like, you know, like grown up Buddhist and learning detachment. But also I think it's kind of a face thing about, you know, being strong and not showing too much emotion and not being considered weak. I'm not really sure. I've looked this up. I've read stuff on Reddit and kind of similar stuff to what I just said now. If you've been here or it's kind of an Asian thing, but especially like in Thailand, if you have like an idea or a theory, or if you're Thai and you're watching this video, please comment below. You know, give a suggestion. I'm open for discussion. You know, sometimes when, you know, bad things happen in my life, I've been known to make kind of a dark, twisted joke. So it could be the same thing, just kind of like, you kind of take the power away from the seriousness of it by making kind of a lighthearted joke or kind of a dark joke. It could be that too. The thing about reminding yourself that you're in Thailand can also be for, you know, kind of like good things, but also maybe not so great things. A friend of mine said to me, he's like, hey, just because you can drink and drive in Thailand doesn't mean you should. And they are trying to clamp down on that here, but still, it's nothing like back in the States. You see a lot of cars swerving around on a Saturday night or on a Tuesday night, like after 10 p.m. So drinking and driving is a big problem here. And just because you can do it doesn't mean you should. And, you know, I'm not proud to say this, back in the day when I was here, there was times when I got on the motorbike and I shouldn't have been on the motorbike. So I'm not casting judgment on anyone who does do it. I've done it myself, and thank goodness nothing bad ever happened. Now if I go out and I know I'm going to have possibly a few drinks, I'll take a Grab. I mean, a round trip is normally like $5.50. So just use good judgment. It's okay to put limits on yourself. You know, that when in Rome isn't always a good thing. In my opinion, it's good to pick which standards you're gonna choose as good and bad. So just use your good judgment. But remember, it's good to be open-minded. And it's good to practice patience and whatnot. It'll help you grow as a person. You know, there's not just one way of doing things. There are many different ways you can do stuff. So your way isn't always better than their way, and their way is not always better than yours, of course. I mean, it's common sense, but I wish I had some of these rules intact when I first came here. Ugh. Ah, it's a rat. Number 3, dating in your host country. Oh, I hope that doesn't come over here. If you've never been to Thailand before, in my opinion, as a straight guy, the females they're not bad looking. They're pretty nice and they're pretty friendly. The second time I came here, I took it slow to meet somebody. I was single for a good 6 months before I took the plunge and got like a serious girlfriend here. I, of course, dated around. I met a lot of people, but I didn't do anything too crazy. Like I said, I've been lucky, and also I've used some discretion, some standards. Been mindful of some cues or some red flags. Especially if you're in a new city. I mean, there's a ton of nice girls who work in restaurants, massage parlors, bars, etc. But I mean, if this is all you're exposed to, you are kind of like drawing from kind of a shallow pool. So, just slow your roll, get to meet people. I've talked to guys here who've met a girl, and after 2-3 weeks, she's moving in with them. I think before you get a live-in partner, you should be here a while. Learn the lay of the land, learn the culture, learn what's expected of you, and learn what you can expect from them. If you're gonna get a girl and you don't speak a lick of Thai, get a girl who can speak English well, or at least somewhat well. I mean, you can't, Google Translate is awesome, but if there's like an important conversation going on, you can't just be relying on that all the time. It's a good way for miscommunications. So what's a good way to meet people here? I personally think the best way to meet somebody is through a dating app. People like to goof on them and say, oh, I'd stay away from those. You don't want to meet a girl on a dating app, but I mean, who isn't on a dating app these days? You go to a temple or go out to a shopping center and you strike up a conversation with a girl, and if she speaks some English and she's open to dating a foreigner, more than likely she has Tinder or Thai Friendly or something installed on her phone. Using these sites are pretty overwhelming. You will get a lot of replies to your messages, so there will be a lot of like alerts coming up on your phone and so-and-so and so-and-so sending you messages, and yeah, it's pretty overwhelming. So there needs to be some time management with all these messages and meeting all these new people, but really easy for a nice girl to fall through the cracks. So take it slow, even on that. You just gotta take it slow. You don't wanna, it's not a candy store and you're not a kid. The thing I really like about these sites is A, you get to meet a lot of different people, and B, you get to use a filter. You can like filter out age, education, level of English, job, all that stuff. If they have kids or if they don't have any kids. So you can customize it to kind of like your needs. And they'll do the same for you, of course. Okay, I wasn't gonna go into this, but I think it's kind of, no, this is great advice. I think it's important to do like have a video conference with them or a voice talk or something before you meet in person, because nothing against ladyboys. I swear to God, I have nothing against them. I could be friends with the ladyboy. But for me, in a romantic setting, I prefer being in a relationship with someone who was born a woman. Well, a few months ago, like before I met my girlfriend, like when I first came here, I was here for a couple of weeks. I was chatting with this girl for a couple of days, and pictures were nice, age, all that good stuff. Her English seemed pretty good. Didn't seem like she's using a translator or anything. So I was like, hey, why don't we meet? She's like, yeah, let's meet at Maya Mall. It's a mall in Chiang Mai. So I went and met her. So we're supposed to meet by like the water fountain. There's this big, beautiful water fountain in front of Maya. And as I'm walking up, I see like a version of the girl that I spoke to on chat. It was a lady boy. So, I met them. I didn't say anything. They didn't say anything to me. I think I kind of like made a little bit of a face, so they kind of knew that, yeah. So, we went and had coffee, we talked and all that. Like I said, they were nice, but just not interested. Okay, I have to admit, during the date or the meeting, whatever, I ran off in the washroom. I pulled up her profile to see if I missed something. And no, she listed her sex as being female. But I looked at her pictures, like, okay, yeah, these are heavily, like, filtered, and she's like taking the picture from like a high angle and all that. So I'm like, Yeah. So before you meet in person in Thailand, in my opinion, it's good to probably try to do like a video chat. Actually, you know what? That's another thing I just I brushed upon about the heavily filtered. It's very common for them to use like these filters on their phones. So sometimes when you meet them in real life, you're just like, they look like 60% of what their picture looked like. 60%, even sometimes even a little bit less. So actually, you know what? Let me open up my favorite Russian face filter app, face app, and take a selfie. Cutie pie. One thing I've noticed about the online dating scene here is it seems like a lot of the women are being really cautious. I mean, a lot of them will talk about, you know, disappointing relationships with foreigners and Thai men, but they're a little more cautious than they were before. It could be because, you know, I am dating older women because I am 10 years older or 10 years older, whatever, than when I was first here. So it could be partially that. So that's my advice for when you first come here as a single guy. If you're a single guy, just, you know, go slow. Don't jump in anything crazy, and just, you know, have fun. Try not to get hurt. Try not to hurt anyone else. Just be upfront. Sink. I give myself a little treat. Got myself a nice cold can of Chang. Take off the hat. Ooh, keep the hat on. All right. Yeah, I went to 7-Eleven, picked myself up a beer. Didn't feel brave. Didn't want to order from the restaurant because who knows? I might have got a bowl of, I don't know, fish guts or snake livers or whatever. Do snakes have livers? Comment below. All right, let's pull this bad boy. Oh, what? This isn't a beer. This is a freaking soda pop, and it's a Pepsi Max. It doesn't even have sugar in it. I like Pepsi Max. Yeah, just goofing around. Just remember point number two, you gotta be flexible. It's Thailand. You never know what to expect. Well, these are just a few tips of coming to a country for the first time. If I left anything out, please comment below. Let me know. You know, if you're currently living abroad, or if you have in the past, or if you have a friend or a relative, whatever. Yeah, just let me know. And if you disagree or agree, I'd like to hear your thoughts. If you're not subscribed, you want to see videos like this on tips and just goofy stuff, become a subscriber. Click that bell if you're already subscribed. If you like this video, you know what to do. If you don't like this video, just click thumbs down twice. And remember, if you're an expat or if you're living in your country of origin, peace.